This is the final project update for mobile computing with iPhone and Android by Kisang Pak and Ryan Webb. Upon loading the application, you will notice that the primary interface remains the same as it was in the last project update, with the Home, Settings, and Scores views immediately accessible by tab bar. The settings in the Settings view have changed to include the ability to disable and enable background effects, and to change the visual style of cubes. More on these momentarily. The Scores view remains mostly unchanged, personal scores being presently empty due to the recent installation of the app. One significant change to the global scores view is the differentiation of high scores by username. More on this later. Options for the gameplay modes no longer include the ability to specify cat-a-corner cube responders, and the user may now select puzzles of 2x2, 2x3, 3x2, or 3x3 cubes. Selecting an initial puzzle matrix of 2x2 cubes, we are taken to the main gameplay screen where several important changes have been made. You may immediately notice that the visual style of the cubes is significantly different than in the last project update. This style can be altered further by selecting a different cube style in the Settings view. The dice style is my personal favorite. These styles were included to provide greater variety and customization to the user. Clicking on the toggle in the upper right-hand corner of the screen causes the cubes to switch to a secondary visualization mode, where the values of each cube face are immediately visible. Returning to the Settings view, you'll notice that there is a toggle that allows us to enable and disable the newly added background effects. There is also a toggle that allows us to enable and disable score sharing. If score sharing is enabled upon the successful completion of a puzzle, and a user has not yet registered a username, he or she is prompted with a dialog requesting the creation of a username. I'll use my uni for this demonstration. Once username registration has completed, an alert appears confirming it. The user can then go about playing the various modes of the game, and the application will automatically send user score data to the server in the background. Testing out the various gameplay options, we now have a configuration of 2 rows and 3 columns of cubes. Here we have a configuration of 3 rows and 2 columns. And finally, a configuration of 3 rows and 3 columns. I'd like to take this opportunity to demonstrate the updated shake functionality of our application. Please pardon the blurriness of this segment of the video. Should the user become frustrated with a particular puzzle, he or she may shake the iPhone to generate a new puzzle. This differs from the previous implementation, where shaking the iPhone simply resulted in resetting the puzzle to its original state. Returning to the Scores view for a moment, we will see that solving several puzzles in the traditional gameplay mode has added several new high scores to the local high scores database. The user can now select these high scores and view more detailed information about them, including the total number of turns and time it took to complete the associated puzzles, and the date on which the scores were earned. This information is available for each gameplay mode. Similar functionality has been implemented for the Global High Scores view, except that Global High Scores are differentiated by the usernames of the users who earned them, and this information is displayed in the Detail view as well. It seems I'm competing with a Miss Sweeney for the top spot in the traditional leaderboard. Ah well, can't win them all. Returning finally to the home screen, I'd like to show you how the various gameplay changes are reflected in the other gameplay modes of the application. In the time trial mode, we are greeted by an interesting new background effect, a 3-dimensional tunnel that moves faster the closer the countdown timer gets to 0. This was conceived as a way to make the mode a bit more intense. In the Wildcard traditional gameplay mode, as well as the Wildcard time trial mode, the number of rows and number of columns of cubes are now selected at random by the computer, along with the turn mode. That's all for this final update. I hope you've enjoyed watching the game progress as much as we've enjoyed making it. Thank you.